and welcome to the NXT review. I'm Adam Wilbourn from WhatCulture, joined by Michael Sidgwick from WhatCulture, here to review everything happened on last night's episode of NXT. But before we get into it, if you're a fan of this sort of thing, make sure you subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, and YouTube, where we do daily wrestling podcasts where we're not going to review the show, formerly known as NXT 2.0. Friday Night SmackDown, AEW, Dynamite, AEW Collision, pay-per-views, premium live events. We have interviews, roundtable discussions, and a roundup of the week, complete with a big good quiz, of course, on WrestleCulture. As I said, though, joined by Michael Sidgwick to review last night's NXT and all the developments on the road to, of course, their next upcoming PLE, that being great.
And God bless the United States.
I mean, this is not great, was it?
I had a good time.
You always do.
Yeah.
I mean, look, the matches were short. I tell you what, there was one match I didn't watch and go, oh, this is rubbish. Oh, this is bobbins. Like, hey!
That's right. I think I know which one.
Yeah. One thing on the show where I'm like, if I'm completely dead inside, I am, but I don't really feel it that much during this one match.
Well, let's dive into it then. The show opened with Trick Williams, the world champion over in Trick NA, coming out to join the announce team for the opening match, which was Wes Lee versus Joe Hendry.
I believe in Joe Hendry. I believe in the dead man. Because we love him in Dallas and Austin, San Antonio,
Death Valley.
Yeah. If you haven't, you thought, I'll skip the preview this week, but I'll definitely check the review. Watch and or listen to the preview. It was incredible.
It's not all analysis.
It's not all analysis, but we did a bit. Not that we do bits, but
No.
we indulged ourselves just this once with The Undertaker and his BSK cohorts enjoying, well, kind of morphed into the dead man is now Joe Hendry, or at least the dead man's got his own version of Joe Hendry's theme song, and the dead man likes to go to the strip club with his BSK buddies, and because BSK member Phineas Godwin Midian, once also played Naked Midian, Taker thought it would be a good idea to put Midian on the pole. Dance for me, Midian, dance. Dance. Did I stutter? Wave your dick from side to side and see. I believe in the dead man. Dead man is so prestigious.
So it was Joe Hendry versus Wes Lee.
Yeah.
Early on, there's a Rana to send Joe to the outside. Lee hits a drop kick through the ropes into the announce table, but he showboats a little bit too much, and Henry hits him with a big clothesline to take him down and stares down.
Nice bump.
Yeah. Nice ooh from the audience to that one. There's a stare down between Joe and the TNA World Champion, Trick Williams, as we go to a break. When we come back, obviously the rest of... Are they the High Rise or High Rise?
I don't care.
Tyson DuPont, Tariq Igwe there. They distract Joe Hendry, which allows Wes Lee to hit him with a big dive. And then he springboards off the middle rope into like a Phoenix splash. But then Hendry counters a tilt-a-whirl with a vertical suplex. Fair play. Wes Lee went flying for the fall-away slam that Joe Hendry hits. He does his kip-up, his spin, his turn. Goes for the standing O, but Wes gets out of it. Leaps off the ropes. Gets caught again by Joe into a power slam for two. But... it's only two because I think it was Tyson put Wes's foot on the ropes. Santana runs out to stop all this interference, takes out the rest of the High Rise, and Joe Hendry hits the standing ovation for the 1, 2, 3.
Aye, yeah, we're fine. It was fine. Like, a lot of these matches were short, so I was quite happy with that.
Lot to cram in.
Lot to cram in. There's always lots to cram in on NXT. I will say, decent bit of matchmaking this. Like Joe Hendry, and this is something you might actually have to try and refine. Bit of earnest analysis tangent. Earnest analysis tangent. Not that we do much of that, hence why I needed to press the button. Joe Hendry his style is very much, I'm one of the biggest guys in the room. He's made like his bulking and his look a big part of how it informs what he does in the ring. Worked really quite well here in a throwaway but well worked TV match with Wes Lee, and it worked as well when he first started developing this. Like before he was even really sort of brothered into TNA, when he was like on the indies, and he's a big strapping lad as Joe. He's gonna have to maybe switch that up when he eventually. Everyone reckons it's inevitable that he's going to the main roster WWE at some point. Maybe it isn't, maybe it is, but smoke, fire, all that. Yeah, he's probably going to have to find another way out, because it worked really well on the night. As he said, Wes Lee took some great bumps for him. This is the best Joe's looked as like an actual force. Good news for him, we actually got a pop this week. It was pretty worrying last week.
That was last week. Was it?
Weird. Maybe they're just totally trained seals who didn't hear the entrance theme, so they just were temporarily blinded. I didn't hear no music. That's usually when it'll come on. Maybe that was it.
Maybe.
Who the hell knows? I'm going to lead with that as my leading theory. I can't do that against, like Orton.
No.
Or a lot of, it's not like 1989 no more. But, there's still some big lads kicking about.
Yeah.
Kicking a boot.
I still remember the first time I met Wade Barrett, who was a big guy, but never on screen appeared like, geez, he's huge. Just seemed like just normal. And then I met him, and he's 6'5" or something. He's huge. It's just one of those things, isn't it, of like, it can be the land of giants there. If like they wouldn't book this, but if Joe was facing Oba Femi or things like that, it would be weird for him to be like, gonna go for the power game, I think, against this guy. Yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, against Wes Lee, I thought it worked perfectly. And I didn't really pay much attention to TNA, obviously, but I do like the addition of Santana to the title match at Slammiversary, so it's now a triple threat, because Santana's great. And it's nice to see him back in.
Nice to see him nice.
Indeed. I hope we see more of him in WWE, genuinely, because he's so talented. You always sung his praises with Ortiz, obviously, in AEW. So I'm glad he's really found his feet in TNA.
Fair play to him as well, because, like, Jesus Christ, when he was like, he did the whole, I'm going to take a bet on myself. I'm going to head to TNA to reinvent my career. And I'm like, I might as well put money on friggin' Luton winning the FA Cup or something. Like, you're not going to do it there. Like, you do feel for wrestlers who aren't getting booked well by one company and aren't expected to succeed in the other, because I know we do, like, again, we don't really do bits, but every now and then we will indulge ourselves. It does feel like there are actually legitimately two companies. What do you do? Like, I'll go to TNA to reinvent my career. No. No one's going to see you. You're working in a forest.
I was watching a bit of the Cody Rhodes, Kevin Owens interview, which is really well worth a watch. It's fascinating stuff. And they were talking about, King of the Indies and their time on the Indies, and obviously who was like books and people like that were like the stars that companies would literally book a show on a day that's not normally their show just because that's the only day that this star could work. And Cody Rhodes says, you were big on the Indies. I work with books, et cetera, et cetera. Who would you say is king of the Indies right now? And both of them are a bit like, Matt Cardona's doing great stuff, obviously, but...
I did hear, Kevin Owens' response. That you can't twerk for the Fed and call himself the king of the Indies. I'm paraphrasing.
That's the alleged Ryback bit, and there's a
I know a different name, I might say, after the record.
Oh, okay. And then the other one I saw was Kevin Owens' reaction to being asked about Bron Breakker's fake tanning, which is worth a watch.
All right, okay.
And there's a genuinely lovely bit about Kevin Owens and Dusty in there, which is worth checking out too.
It's nice. The Indies are, I don't want to say finished, but they're not finished.
No.
Like Cardona's...
In the Pelegation zone.
They're the Pelegation zone, yes. I mean, no, they're finished. Like, I understand, like, Defy... I haven't heard much noise coming out of there post Nick Wayne going to AEW. That's not necessarily saying that they don't put on great shows all the time. I'm sure they do for the whole market. I'm just saying in terms of buzz, in terms of a wrestler who, put it this way, on the spot, who's the next guy that AEW and WWE are going to go in a bidding war with, and either side are going to do that. Didn't fancy them anyway. I actually don't think they're going to be the next big thing. And the other side, and if they did sign for them, they'd go, next big thing we've got. You know what I mean? It's weird. Like, again, not going to press the button every time. But, like, I mean, what do you do? What do you do? AEW is, I think, ultimately on balance, a force for good, but no other US indie could ever hope to have like a USP when their USP is everything.
Yes.
Like, we'll do lucha, we'll do strong style, we'll do plunder, comedy, we'll do the ZSJ Danielson match if you love your technical wrestling. We've got Ospreay, Swerve, Omega, like the very best hybrid style guys ever in some cases work here. Like, what could PWG do now?
Yes, good
What
point.
could Ring of Honor do now when they've essentially been subsumed and spliced together?
Yeah, the sort of third
under
of
one banner of AEW.
Mention MLW and people like that, but the sort of third and fourth place promotions, i.e. TNA and Ring of Honor, are sort of under the umbrella of the big ones, isn't it?
The only trend that I've noticed, and I haven't kept up, doing this job has its challenges in terms of, like, if I watched everything, I would lose complete interest.
Oh, burnout would be ridiculous.
Yeah, like, we talk around it. We do get burnout. We just do bits on occasion at times. I think what the next sort of trend is, now that AEW has swept up every trend and collected them all under their own banner, is Deadlock Pros making noise, with the idea being like, if there's nothing new under the sun, I think their whole mission statement, if you like, is to appeal to the real graps, ball knowers, sickos, where they're not reinventing the wheel, but like everything's got like a sort of an element of struggle behind it. And I think a guy, Mad Dog Connolly, with his chain matches, is trying to sort of make it more brutal in a more understated way. Feels sometimes to me like a faithful reproduction of authenticity rather than actual authenticity. I don't know. Wrestling.
Except on Tuesday nights, where NXT rolls on. And we see footage from last week. Obviously, you had the Tatum Paxley attempted involvement in the four-way.
What a segue.
And Tatum's arguing backstage. This is last week with Sol and Ruka about why they got her out there from Izzy's match. And Izzy comes in pissed, but says, "Hey, Tatum, she was just trying to help me. And I know you didn't mean to hurt me. I may have lost the match, but I've won your friendship." And Zori's like, "Look, if you want to fall for this, go right ahead." And Izzy, and she does, because Izzy says, "How about we be a team?" And Tatum says, "Sounds good." And that's where this tag match that's coming later on emerges from. And then we go to the ring, where out comes Luca Crucifino. Oh, so this show's already off to a great start. Out he comes to talk about the family, Tony D, Stacks, etc. And he says, "Tony D has been questioning my loyalty since Stand and Deliver a year. And after last week, I want to put that to bed. I want to put this to rest. Tony, please come out here." Tony D'Angelo comes out and goes, "Oh, whoa. Everybody look at this. My consigliare's calling me out here, huh? Well, the tables have turned, Luca? Tony, you seem to think that everybody is against you. Oh, no, you're right. You're not out to get me. At least that's what the last month said, huh? You see, last week you screwed me in my Heritage Cup and served me up on a goddamn platter for Stacks. And then you punched me in the face. Oh, listen, as I recall correctly, you were the one who hit me in the face first. Tony, I gave you a little respect. I listened to you. Now you're going to listen to me. You want to talk about loyalty? Fine, let's talk about loyalty. Loyalty is me leaving college with 1 year of eligibility for uni for our family, because you asked me to. Loyalty is me turning down job offers for a top-tier law firm in the country without hesitation for a job I have wanted since I was a child. I've done and given up everything I've done up until this point just for a chance, Tony, for a chance to be in the WWE. And you know, without a doubt, that I have never done a dumb thing to doubt you, Tony. And you know what that is? That's a loyalty.
When the moon hits your eye like a big pizza pie, that's a loyalty. Daisy's on it.
Out comes the Heritage Cup champion, Stax, to interrupt. And he says,
Luca,
Awful.
I gotta say, I wouldn't be standing here, your Heritage Cup champion, if it wasn't for you. So thank you, man.
oh, Luca, listen to me. This is what I'm talking about. This stuff right here. It's Stax says, shut the hell up. You're not a part of this family. This is between me and Tony. Oh, yes, Stax. This is between me and Mike Consiglio. Oh! And at that point, he's punched by Luca Crucifino. I did like this, the way that he...
Good impression there.
Chins Tony and Stax. All of Stax's Christmases have come at once. He runs in. He puts his arm around Luca. Hey, you dumbass. Look what me and him are going to take on the world. And then obviously Luca just turns around and nails Stax as well. And the segment ends with Luca saying, my loyalty lies with Luca Crucifino.
I'm rather surprised, Wilbourn, that you didn't come into the office via cartwheel, because you understand what's happening here, don't you?
What's that?
So much like, you know, I don't know. I was going to do something. I'm tired. Two of your favorite things are now coming together, potentially on the old horizon. Like, you know, forget Hogan and Savage. The Wilbourn mega powers of the Tony D'Angelo crime family and triple threat matches are coming together because Tony D'Angelo versus Channing Stax Lorenzo versus Luca Crucifino was all but telegraphed here.
For the Heritage Cup, potentially. For the biggest prize in sports entertainment.
Triple threat rounds match.
I don't know how that would work. Well, I suppose it could still work.
Rotten Bottom could make it work.
I didn't think of it like that. Yeah, it's a very good point. I was just blown away by Luca's...
Well, he couldn't make it work, but he would still try.
And you could have the Riz as the special guest referee.
Even better.
I mean, that's match of the year, isn't it? Match
No.
of my year.
Yeah, match of
Sorry,
your
yeah,
year.
it's match of my year.
Your year and your year alone.
I thought Luca did a very good job here.
I mean, it's farcical, but okay. Yeah, you know.
I think it's going to bring the Riz back because family's in pieces now. Luca's quit. Stax is broken off from it all. Tony's alone, but the Riz is the big question mark, isn't she?
Yeah.
Well,
She could be injured or something. I don't know. With this, Luca, like, the stuff of the family cannot help itself but mock itself. Like, if he's gone through all that trouble to go like law school and the like, why would he jack it all in just to earn, I don't know, 70 grand for a caricature of a stable in NXT?
Well, I think he's, this is a side hustle. Obviously, he's the family. The crime part is the real hustle, and he's the sort of advisor to Tony in legal matters.
Okay. If, you know, if the Tony D'Angelo family on its own terms as a crime syndicate is so lucrative, why are they wrestlers?
You've seen the Heritage Cup.
Okay.
Anyway, sorry. Oh, wow. There's been some sort of UFO sighting outside. Big
What, in Gateshead?
Apparently so. I'm going to go and check this out. You keep
No,
talking.
I'm going to check this as well.
Yeah, you have a look from your sources. My sources are telling me.
You don't have a sources.
They're saying there's a UFO sighting in Gateshead right now. I'm going to go and quickly check this out. You tell us more of your thoughts on how great it's all going for the family.
Well, I've got nothing else to say about the family. I'm going to go on Twitter because this is breaking news potentially. And I don't know why I'm still sat here.
Well, you could technically think about it, Sid Jazz. You're going on the X files. to find out about a UFO.
Yes, indeed.
Yes, yeah, look at
Indeed.
that.
So I've just put in my Twitter search bar UFO gate said. I mean, it would be international news because this would get this is obviously very dubious.
I mean, there are a few aliens around there anyway, aren't there? So
yeah.
weird looking guys.
Some weird looking guys. So I've gone on Twitter because it's not going to, the real press aren't going to. There's UFO sightings in air quotes all the time. So let's just see what Twitter's saying. UFO gate said latest.
I'm more interested in your phone cover, Sidge. I don't think I've ever seen that before.
It's my daughter. It's got like she loves arts and crafts.
Is that like a little horse, pony, unicorn thing in the middle there?
It's like a unicorn. It looks like a little mushroom there. It's like, hope it's a goddamn mushroom.
Well, all the best things at the minute.
Some stars. You know what the truth is? The truth is we like to take arts and crafts out when we're going for a family meal because they still need occupied.
Good distraction.
I'd rather that than a tablet, but I will resort to the tablet. I will.
As
and
you
people
should.
who bollock people for screen time can piss off.
Or they've never had kids, clearly.
Exactly. Because here's the thing. You do all of the activity and you stimulate them and then you go for the meal. So when it's the meal time, it's right. We need something to eat. We need to replenish our energy. So that's when you're allowed it. You should be allowed it all whenever you want. So basically that was to,
There you go.
distract the kids. February 22, caught on camera, UFO spotted in Gateshead. That's from Spotted UFOs, Ghosts and Cryptids. 61 followers. That was back in February, though, so
They
I
had
don't know
8
how
more
Wilbourn
followers.
said about this.
You could believe them, but...
Anyway, well, is there...
Oh, look at that microphone over there.
well, I've been saved by the door. Oh, hello.
How's it going? Where everybody, huh? Oh, how's it going, Sidgy?
It come through the ceiling, like. How have you
Got
done that?
punched off Luca.
Nice.
Goddamn chin yesterday, huh?
Didn't hear the dog go, that's all.
Wilbourn, there's been a UFO sighting, apparently, so he's gone outside to check that out.
Probably the goddamn plane, if anything, huh?
Maybe.
Maybe.
Hey,
But at the end of the day, it is World UFO Day, of course.
Oh!
Happy World UFO Day. Hey, Sidge, what's the deal with aliens, huh?
Well, aliens are believed to be other life forms from outer space who arrived to Earth for purposes that aren't specified. Research, observation, experiments in what are called unidentified flying objects. Where is it a bird? Is it a plane? We've got no clue. So instead, we'll just say it's unidentified. So that's what aliens are, just life forms, potentially, allegedly, from other planets. Now, the existence is in dispute. Some people would say that logic would dictate that because there is an ever-expanding infinite universe, there are infinite possibilities. And because there are planets that we'll never even begin to discover in every single lifetime on Earth, surely one of them, or maybe an infinite number of them, it's all crazy stuff, man. If there's an infinite number of planets and an infinite number of possibilities, they would have to exist. And yet, we've had no confirmed visits. Do I believe in them? I don't believe in anything until I see it.
You're saying there's a infinite possibility. So there's a universe where maybe I don't wear a hat or this jumper, maybe just like a T-shirt or something.
Yes, there's also a universe, Stax, where you don't wear the hat, you don't wear the jumper, you are from the Midlands in the United Kingdom. You've got a shock of ginger hair, you look better when you've got a bit of stubble, but you shave it off for no reason. Your nose is a bit bigger than you come to realize, Stax, that your nose is a little bit bigger, but we're in good company.
Good to know.
Some people in this universe would describe you as a lanky streak of piss, but
in that universe.
but in this universe, you are a tanned, jacked professional wrestler.
Actually, speaking of aliens, I had a little story. Apparently, female aliens are invading Earth and kidnapping men with huge cocks. I mean, you're in no danger, but if I'm not here next week, that's to explain my absence. 3 jokes, 3 questions for you. Question joke number 1. What do aliens spread on their toast?
Right, okay. I'm just going to do some, just going to say some stuff to try and, get the old gears, the mental gears whirring. Space Jam.
It's good.
Yeah!
Yeah.
Can you imagine, by the way, if you get the old Hattie when he's not here?
Yeah. I'm trying not to look at the screen.
Yeah.
Trying not to look at the screen.
Question joke number 2, Sidgy. What is the best way to see aliens having sex?
What is the best way to watch aliens having sex? Right.
Was it to watch or to see?
What choice, see?
That doesn't matter.
Dealer's choice.
Okay.
Through this is not the answer. I'm just riffing to myself here. Internal monologue out loud through a belloscope, like your bell end, through some.
Right, there's Dax. You good?
Just expecting the old
Yeah, just checking the wall.
scenery over here.
Yeah.
Through a belloscope, through bicoculars, because they're far away and now outer space.
Yeah.
No.
What was the setup against Dax?
What's the best way to see aliens having sex?
Go on.
Something about extraterrestrial television.
Oh,
Like, you know how it used to be
extraterrestrial telly.
I don't know.
Channel 5, Red Shoe Diaries.
Yeah, I don't know, but
I don't know.
All good guesses, not right, though. What is the best way to see aliens having sex? You have to go on Pornhubble. Like the Hubble telescope, huh?
That's a belloscope wasn't too far
Not too
away.
far away. Pornhubble. Check it out.
Pornhubble. Stack.
That's a joke number 3.
You're better than that.
That was one to James. How's an alien orgasm?
On an ET phone sex line.
Nice.
How's an alien orgasm? Sucking it off.
Good, all right.
It's proper John Smith's of answers, that one is. I bet.
It's Route 1, isn't it?
I bet.
How does an alien orgasm? It comes in pieces. See you later, guys.
I mean, that was excellent. Thank you to our good buddy Stax, who's just left us now. Bye, Stax. You've missed Stax.
joking?
Yeah. No, yeah, I'm joking. He's going to make an appearance later on in the show.
Didn't see UFO or anything. Turns out their report was from, I think, February 22nd. So I must have just read something wrong there or something.
Okay.
I was wearing a hoodie when I left, though, so maybe something mysterious is going on there.
Well, did you take it off and put it on your chair?
Yeah, that might be the case, actually. Yeah, it's a good
Did you
point.
leave it at this mistress's house?
What are you talking about?
For a fair that you're clearly having. To explain all these ridiculous, unexplained absences.
Kelly Kincaid has a backstage interview with Oba
Captain,
Femi.
come quick as well, because you're not gone very long.
Any preference between Jasper Troy or Yoshiki Inamura at the Great American Bears?
And God
I
bless
forgot we've got all
the United
the show left.
States.
Yeah.
Like an hour and 40 minutes of material.
Yep. Oh.
But we've got a meeting in Ava's office to look forward to.
Oh, okay.
We can understand why everyone likes Inamura, but he wants to see if he's got the grit and the tenacity to beat Jasper Troy. Oba doesn't want an easy challenge at the Great American Bears. Yoshiki shows up. Inamura's there and says he's going to show him what he's made of. He's hungry for the best test of his career, biggest test of his career even. And Oba tells Josh Briggs, make sure your boy's ready, because amidst the chaos in NXT, there is one constant, and that is Oba Femi. He's not the hunted, he's the hunter. And Inamura is ready. He's going to show him out there tonight.
Yeah, good stuff. I like the match. Episodic TV is a bit of a waste of time, if you ask me. I've seen it all before.
Before we get to that, though, it was time for Miles Bourne versus Lexis King. I was awoken at the early hours of this morning through another very excited text from Michael Sidgwick saying, oh my God, I can't believe it's University of Florida football players George Gums Jr. and Tyreek Sapp for a second week. They're in the crowd, obviously, watching this, doing the Gators thing. Lexis King.
Sucks.
Weasel that he is. Bourne sends King into the ropes, does a leapfrog, drops to the mat for the thing. King stops himself and just stands on his back. But this time, Bourne fires up, grabs King for a back suplex, and then does the gator roll and the gator thing.
I was like a gator roll, you know.
Yeah,
I do like that. I do like that.
Bourne goes up top, gets drop kicked. King climbs up, beats him up, hits a superplex and gets a 2. And then does that thing where he sets him up in the corner, runs in, and just slaps him right in the face. But Bourne had enough of all that. Angle slam, gets King on his shoulders. Lexis rakes the eyes, hits a super kick, goes to the coronation. That gets countered. And then Bourne hits that awesome drop kick of his. And a zigzag, which is clearly his new finish, for the 1, 2, 3.
Oh, God. Absolutely nothing. Glad it was as short as it was. Regrettably, Lexis King is usually so useless that it becomes funny, and he does something funny in the match. Like sometimes he'll just like do some weird stuff with his hands and then decide to run the ropes. Or when he's selling, he'll be too frantic about it and he'll make a farce of it all. You can usually rely on him for doing something dumb and stupid, and this is like way more generic than I'd hoped. And as well, it went 4 minutes and they botched the finish. What do you want us to say?
Yeah, the zigzag wasn't great.
The zigzag wasn't great. I don't know what happened here. I think what's happened, I don't know for sure, is that Miles Bourne is roughly 10 times the athlete Lexis King is.
Awesome, Miles Bourne.
So Lexis King just kind of flops to the mat in that useless way of his. And Miles Bourne is really trying to get his new zigzag over. The issue, logically, is that in getting the zigzag over is this, like, I'm going to do this huge vertical leap and drive my opponent's head to the mat back first. It's that really you are bumping harder than they are.
Yes.
You're taking the same bump, and then because he's trying to get it over, it's his new finish, isn't it?
Yeah, by the looks of it.
I've been paying attention. So he does this massive vertical leap for the maximum dramatic effect, even though it makes no sense, but we'll go with it anyway. I know we can't because Lexis King's just fallen on his arse. Like a whole, like, just went, little flopper. Crap finish, short nothing match.
It's weird, like, for Miles Bourne, like, he's got such a great drop kick. That should be his finish, but it doesn't work because...
He might as well have the atomic drop as a finish at this point, do you know what I mean?
They could give him a cutter. Like, lean into it.
No.
What would you, if you were a wrestler, what would your finish be? Like, you
If
can't.
I was a WWE wrestler, legitimately, I would mine what no one's seen yet from AEW. Because, like, what no one in WWE does that is associated with someone from AEW within reason. Otherwise, like, you're going to get people laughing at you everywhere. It's NXT, of course. You put yourself forward as an object of ridicule. But I don't touch the hidden blade. Don't.
No.
Like, don't touch the one-winged angel. You don't want to look deluded, and you don't want to do, like, I mean, the hidden blade, I talk about it every friggin' podcast, it would seem. It is so amazing how you can do that. It's the best. Out of an air. What's a cool move in AEW that you don't see in WWE? If I'm a WWE guy, that's how I get over. Because AEW is good when it's in a WWE ring.
Rollins nicked Okada's finisher briefly, didn't he? And then kneed John Cena right in the face.
He tried to subvert it, right? So he did a ripcord knee. So trying to basically borrow from Okada and Omega at the same time when they were both, like, getting to be. It was like 2017, obviously. Yeah. So yeah, I love how that's, to me, is what separates Will Ospreay and Seth Rollins, right? So Seth Rollins, a bad or derivative, not very great wrestler. He's not bad. He's just not great. And I've been told he's great for 10 friggin' years. A derivative, not great wrestler will take literally from a great wrestler. So he does, I'll do the ripcord like Okada, but I'll do the knee like Omega. Like 2 rip-offs in one, basically. Will Ospreay will have, and this is what an indictment of this is on Seth Rollins, Will Ospreay will have the brain to do, right, okay, well, what works about the V-trigger, the dramatic effect, the physical impact, but I can use the same principles behind concussion, but like do something different at the same time. And the hidden blade is like, it looks like I'm decapitating someone or drilling the point of my elbow in the back of their head. So it's that same kind of gruesome, concussive looking impact, the same principle as the V-trigger, but a completely different move. Just a little earnest analysis tangent. For Miles Bourne, what's his character? Like, gifted, precocious athlete, good vertical leap. He could do the swerve stomp, like right off the top rope.
Like a top rope drop kick or something.
Yeah, he's got a really good vertical leap. It looks majestic when he is like suspended in midair. He could do the swerve stomp. There you go.
There you go.
A bit too close to the coup de grace if he's ever going to go to the main roster.
Top rope drop kick.
It's one of those, right? If you do a top rope drop kick, you've got 2 options. You either do the Danielson flatback, and like that's, this is what everyone should do. Everyone needs to grow up, right? You know, some people like, you can't go after my favorite wrestler or my favorite company on Twitter. I'll be a dickhead. I need to go after everyone and be miserable. Do you know what I mean? So there are even Danielson, the vaunted Danielson, my number 2 goat. There's still some choices he makes where I'm like, oh, God, I hate his top rope dropkick almost as much as the diving headbutt because he's taken like a phenomenally painful looking flatback for a kick when he can do kicks all the time anyway. So I never like that. It always makes me wince, that bump, because it feels like a wasted bump. So I don't like that, because the other alternative to doing the top rope dropkick and taking the bump on your back is doing like what the 90s guys would do. And you would do a top rope drop kick, but then twist over and land on your stomach. And that always looked a little bit, but there's a reason why that cycled out, I think. So, I go the swerve stomp, you can go the top rope drop kick. Agree or disagree?
I would say that they should maybe do the Zoe Stark's drop kick, the springboard drop kick. That was the unreal one, didn't you?
Oh, yeah.
Like,
I like
one
that.
week where you thought, holy crap, that's an incredible drop kick. And then, obviously, she got injured, so...
Because it's got those first 2 phases, the springboard and the impact. You don't even really... Your mind's gone by the time you're wondering how she falls.
But if you get the cell right, it looked like a shotgun, didn't it, when she did it?
Aye, it's a good show.
We get a promo from Dark State. Things only happen because they allow it. If they catch anyone lacking, they're not going to save them. Or there isn't any saving them. They can come anywhere, any place, any time. Lennox says, we know where we're going next, but you don't. That's the last we see him on this show.
Paid a visit to Malachi Black. I hate this. I know something you don't know, moron. I'm a vast intellectual, me. I mean, this stale's absolutely crap. Absolutely bobbins crap. Indefensible crap.
No, I'm not going to put over Dark State.
Thank you. Basically, an even worse, just as bad, if not quite as embarrassing, retribution.
Death Rider sort of thing, yeah. Thea Hale versus Lainey Reed was next, following on from their row last week. Hale hasn't forgotten, takes her down with some forearms early, but Reed drops her face first into the corner. It's a spinning clothesline, hits a double underhook shoulder breaker for 2, but Hale comes back with a nice code breaker to the arm. She goes for the Kimura, that gets blocked. Reed grabs a roll up, but gets caught with her feet on the ropes, trying to cheat to win. In the midst of all this, Thea Hale gets a roll up, that gets 2. Reed hits a running knee, but again, controversial finish because she not only is Thea Hale's hand under is it breaking the plane? Under the ropes, basically, but also Lainey Reid just grabs the ropes for some leverage as well to get the win here. So this isn't over.
No, which one's Lainey Reid again? Is she the one who had the match with JC Jane?
Red-haired one. I don't know. That was more than a week ago, so I'm going to struggle with that one.
Yeah, 4 minutes of nothing. 4 minutes of nothing.
Good story told of the just cheating to beat Thea Hale, basically. Oh, that didn't work. I'll try something else.
I never know what they want from Thea Hale.
No.
If they like her or not. Cannot tell. Don't really care. Just interesting, isn't it? The ghosts.
We go backstage to the No Quarter Catch crew. At least Ren.
Oh, God, this show's fun.
Ren Sinclair.
Everywhere you go, there's something where it's like, you can't point it out. Not to you. For it being rubbish and making no sense.
Ren Sinclair is still glad that Tavian Heights is part of the NQCC.
He doesn't want to be.
Yeah, but she's naive. Charlie Dempsey says, look, that loss to Javon Evans proves exactly why you need more time in the NQCC. Tavian says, look, I'm not going to make any excuses, but I want the same deal that you offered Miles Bourne. One-on-one, me and you. If I win, I get out of the group. And Charlie accepts, but he says, when I win, we're not having this conversation again. Shake hands.
I would describe this as even worse than Matt Hardy in AEW.
Wow.
I mean, nothing's as bad as that, realistically, in terms of the performance and the ick and the cringe and the complete lack of, merit. Shouldn't have been paid. But it's even worse on some level because at the very least, as convoluted and nonsensical as it was, that you'd have a talent performance contract with AEW and Tony Khan governs and dictates your bookings, that you'd sign his second one with Matt Hardy. Why would you sign a contract with Matt Hardy? Ever, much less any wrestler having control over your career. But at least he had the contracts and the paperwork. Not sure if they could be enforceable in court, but at least they made the effort. This is just a guy saying, no, you're unstable for life.
Yeah, but this makes more sense than Matt Hardy on because they were already in AEW. For all we know, the gateway to get into NXT was via the NQCC. So they've signed a deal with them.
Shouldn't be cleared for action.
But they've gone, you're allowed to compete under the banner of the NQCC. And they're like, right, I've done that for a bit now. Now I want to go out and break out on my own.
But if there was a horrific in-ring accident, WWE would be liable.
Thankfully. It's where the best wrestle, NXT. So no worries about that one. And I like the dynamic.
They can't catch anyone, mate. They can't catch anyone in NXT, so...
The No Quarter Catch crew. The world's smallest cameraman films Jasper Troy looking down on all of us.
Saying, when they shot Nikita Lyons' tits from that angle.
I miss Nikita Lyons, man.
Not remember that?
Yeah.
Like, Jesus Christ.
Is there a clip of her I saw?
That's in Guna City.
You see that clip of her doing the rounds the other day?
No, I didn't know that.
I'll show you afterwards. It says the NXT locker room lives in fear of Oba, dominant and invincible, but he barely survived against me. I'm only one match away from that rematch, and he knows that Oba Femi obviously wants Inamura to win, so he doesn't have to face me again. But I'm going through Inamura. I'm going to win the title at the Green Wrinkle Bash, and Oba's destiny will be mine. I like Jasper Troy.
It's going to not work the more he loses.
Yes.
But that's, yeah. I would have just had him as like, comes in, like, we're talking about Blake Monroe, Mariah May, of like, she has a territory run in a post-expansion world where she just comes in, becomes a star, does the job on the way out, and then just goes. I was half thinking they could do this with Jasper Troy because he's clearly not that ready. They clearly don't want to push him that hard. Can you not just been this young punk from LFG who comes in, gives the champion a fright, and then just quietly goes away to lick his wounds and get great by working in the performance center? You know what I mean?
Maybe he could join the No Quarter Catch crew. There was an interaction last week.
If you like. Maybe. You know what? That could be happening.
Fun match next. It was the tag match I alluded to earlier.
This is the one I liked.
Yeah, I thought so. Sol Ruka and Zarya versus Tatum Paxley and Izzy Dame with the culling at ringside. I say the culling. There's only two others, isn't there? Sean Spears and the wild card Nico Vance now. Ruka starts the match trying to talk some sense into Tatum Paxley, but Zarya and Dame come in to argue, and Ruka and Zarya have to clear the ring. Zarya and Dame get into it, trading forearms. Paxley hits a nice high crossbody for 2. Ruka comes in, slingshot X Factor, ducks a clothesline from Dame, 1 for her, an X Factor for her, brings in Zarya, and then, nice spot this, Zarya has Tatum Paxley across her shoulders, and Sol Ruka climbs on Tatum Paxley's back and dives off to take out Izzy Dame, and then Zarya chucks Paxley at Izzy Dame as well on the outside to take us to a break.
I like that.
Yeah. I thought Tatum Paxley looked really good in here.
No, that's the worst thing about this absolutely abysmal gimmick that she has that will never in a million years get over. She's got talent.
Yeah. For example, when we came back from the break, she hit a running, flipping axe kick that looked great on Zarya for 2. Ruka got the hot tag. They both, Zarya and Ruka, this is take out Tatum. There's a body slam by Zarya to Izzy, a handstand lift splash by Sol. Cover for 2, Tatum dives in to break it up. Sol grabs Tatum, smashes her face first on the apron. Zarya sets Izzy up. Izzy gets the code breaker to get away from her, goes to a corner, but obviously there's no Tatum Paxley. They set Izzy up. Zarya goes for the spear, but at the last second, Tatum slides in, pushes her away, and Zarya, wham, spears her partner. Tatum gets rid of Zarya over the top, and Izzy hits Sol with the sit-down powerbomb for the 1-2-3, pinning the Women's North American champion.
I was kind of shocked by this. Cracking individual performance from Tatum Paxley, who, if she had a gimmick that wasn't so stupidly NXT pilled, this almost literal insanity of doing the same thing over and over again and expecting one of these wrestlers to get over. Wendy Chu, spooky. Joe Gacy, spooky. Like Sean Spears, sinister. Like, I'm sure there's more examples of this, like, creepy, sinister, Derek vibe in NXT, and none of them ever go, God, they're going to be amazing on the main roster. Make it happen now, Papa H. She's really good.
Yes.
Some of her stuff is so creative, and the connection with some of it is just like...
Good snap.
Good creative. She's moves really well. She's totally distinctive. There's intent behind everything she does. Like, she's got a lot of actual talent, and she is trapped in this gimmick that makes her look like a loser.
She celebrated with a doll.
I think she's not even got, like, supernatural powers or spooky. She's just, like, you know, a bit weird.
Mm.
And she, like, thinks... She's like a child. She thinks, like, dolls are real. It's perhaps never in a million years. Like, why has Alexa Bliss still got the doll?
Yeah, that's weird.
Surely she should just be, like, right, she's not the great Chris Jericho with these, like, she's not David Bowie. Wrestlers can't be David Bowie. Like, just stick to what you're good at if you're not some kind of, like, polymath figure.
Mm.
Be Little Miss Bliss, like the kind of, like, obnoxious, full of herself Alexa Bliss. Tatum Paxley, just beat whoever the person or the real name is, and don't be this piece of crap, because she's really got something. This match flowed really well, was creative, like, escalated to the point where it started to feel like a wrestling match that people were genuinely hooked into, and not just mindlessly chanting their derivative drivel.
I found out what her real name is, and it actually works really well for a sign. Her real name is Natalie Holland, so you could have a sign that says, "Let's go Dutch," for her. Thoughts?
That could be a catchphrase as well.
Yeah.
Even though, as far as I'm aware, James knows loads more about, like, geography and stuff than me. Loves geography. They don't like Holland, I don't think. Netherlands.
Yeah, they're always Netherlands on the telly when they're playing football, aren't they? When we're usually beating them in semi-finals.
That is good stuff.
Got to take the little wins when we can.
Oh my God, that Ollie Watkins finish.
Eric
through the eye of a needle.
Eric was well, what would that have been? Last summer? Yeah. So Eric wouldn't have been 1 yet. So you're already in that stage where you're like, well, we'll take the sleep when we can get it.
Yeah.
I remember coming in almost on a daily basis talking to you in Hamlet going, when do they sleep? When do they sleep? Like through? When do I get like a prolonged period of sleep? And it's
1 and 2 years respectively for mine.
It's complete lottery, yeah. And he was at my parents' house. He was in a weird place, and hey, came down. That Ollie Watkins girl. Everyone's up in my house. I'm shouting so loud.
Like, it's one of those finishes that's like not likely to be known as like one of the all-time great goals, or even one of the best goals of the tournament, because it wasn't like a spectacular dipping arc, or wasn't from like outside the area or volleyed. But in terms of difficulty, precision, oh God,
an inch either side and it doesn't go in.
Oh God, it was amazing.
Later on in the show, by the way, Ava informs Izzy that she will face Sol Ruca for the NXT Women's North American Championship at the
And God bless the United States.
Then Hank and Tank compiling in, blaming the Culling for their backstage attack last week. Tatum says, I know my new friends, and I know they wouldn't do something like that. And she says, why don't you put the tag titles on the line next week if you're so bad and tough? And that match is made official.
What is that? Drifted off.
Tag team titles, the Culling versus Hank and Tank next week.
Oh, Christ.
Well, we'll save it for the preview.
Hank and Tank haven't been booked very well as champions.
What have they done recently? Again, I can barely remember past about a week ago. So last week they were just getting attacked backstage.
Yeah.
But, I mean, that title win at Stand and Deliver was something going to stay with me for a long time. The reaction then.
It's been 2 months, 2 months after that.
What have they done?
Not much, that's what I'm getting at.
Title? Hank and Tank.
I forget they're champions half the time.
Oh, I never forget that.
If you look at, like, the storyline, the story that Axiom were involved in, like Weekly Tension, they were like the team that, what's the... Like, they were like the Grim Reapers of NXT, and yet they had the tension themselves. Like, loads of focus put on them.
They did that title defense against Briggs and Namora. That was quite good fun. I remember that. But again, that was at the end of April, so... Oh, and Battleground, they team with Josh Briggs against the Culling. Oh, they've been doing some bits, I suppose. But
yeah, bits and bobs.
But I love Hank and Tank. Anyway, where are we? Oh, yeah. We're in Ava's office. And there is Ricky Saints, Ethan Page, Ava, and the Vanity Project from Evolve, featuring Brad Beeler, of course. And it cuts to them following this Tatum Izzy Dame win, and Ava, talking to the Vanity Project, says, if you guys wanted my honest opinion,
I'd
tell you that Ethan is the last person you should align yourself with, but anyways.
I'd tell you that Ethan is the last person you want to align with, but anyways.
What I was going to say is I would love if we could have a civil conversation.
What I was going to say, too much emphasis, sorry. What I was going to say is I would love it if we could have a civil conversation.
Ain't nothing civil about this, says Ricky Saints. It's going to be man to man. I damn sure don't need the peanut gallery here. I want my rematch. First of all, a smidge of respect for the Vanity Project. This was going to be the three of us, but Hamlet's not here. Also, these boys are literally only here just to help you. Just in case you step out of line, I have to send you back to the hospital. They're here to protect you. Now, as far as this rematch goes, Ricky, please keep up with the times. All Ego is NXT North American Champion, the greatest to hold it. And going forward, I will be dictating every single thing about the championship on my terms. Wow, on your terms, huh? Just like every championship you've earned here. At this point, everybody says hundos. Ethan Page says hundos. I don't think Ricky Saints said hundos, actually, but the Vanity Project obviously lead the train of people saying hundos. So I suppose if everyone says hundos.
Hundos.
Now I am a fighting champion in a fantastic mood, so I'm going to give you an opportunity. You can earn a shot at this championship if, and only if, you survive the Vanity Project gauntlet. And then the Vanity Project... Take the piss out of his larynx. Ricky says, real cute, Slim Jim. I don't mind playing this little game of yours. Because when I beat the gauntlet, I get to dictate the stipulations for my rematch. And Ava says, I love that.
I love it.
Ethan says not to get ahead of themselves, But Ava says, sorry, champ, that's a done deal.
Sorry, champ, it's a done deal.
Next week, it'll be Ricky Saints versus the Vanity Project in the Vanity Project Gauntlet match.
Next week, it'll be Ricky Starks versus the Vanity Project in the Vanity Project Gauntlet match.
And everyone says perfect.
Perfecto.
Good stuff, this one.
No.
What?
I mean,
I'll be.
all right, yeah. I mean, we don't do bits, but if it was, it would be good. I like the Vanity
I
Project.
love a gauntlet.
Do you?
I love this gauntlet.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
You know what?
And this is the way that they get to loser joins Seth Rollins' stable, right?
Maybe, yeah.
Because he gets to pick the stip.
Yeah, Ricky Starks gonna have two mouthpieces ahead of him. That would be silly. I hope it's Ethan Page, actually. Actually, no, because I don't care. Is it Brad Baylor we like?
Yes.
Get him the longest stint
Yeah.
against Ricky Starks. Have him as the final boss.
Yeah. Ricky Saints he beats the first two relatively quickly, although probably the
As
third
quickly
one,
as possible, one would hope.
probably the third one will be the Evolved champion, but regardless.
Okay.
Send the
I don't
Evolved
give a
champion.
about the TNA champion, much less the Evolved champion.
But yeah, Ricky Saints should be either exhausted or beaten down before the third match actually starts, so that Brad Baylor can cock of the walk it a bit before he gets his ass handed to him by Ricky Saints.
It might be a fun way to showcase them all.
Let's
And you know, every Wednesday night, you can watch Evolve on Tubi.
Can't.
What else are you going to do on a Wednesday?
That's what they say. It's Wednesday night. You know what that means? Time to watch Evolve on Tubi.
Yeah.
Off to Chase University for us.
Oh, teachable moment.
And Andre Chase, ever humble, admits, "Might be time for this old dog to learn some new tricks." And he apologizes to Cale Dixon and Uriah Connors. Says, look, tough love is a core teaching method at Chase U. But at the end of the day, I wouldn't have been able to reopen if it wasn't for you two. You gave me a glimmer of hope. He tells Cale Dixon he's got a singles match for him next week. His methods may not be for everybody, but he wants to be better if the boys allow it. Cale gives Mr. Chase a hug. And Chase says, me and Uriah will be in your corner next week. But make sure you listen to me and prove to the world that you're Chase U tough.
They've lost me. This is one of the few things where I'm thinking, they could probably get this. And maybe the bit of the cockles of my dead heart might get into a Chase U thing, maybe. I don't know. They've lost me. I don't know really what's going on. My interpretation of the story, which it still might go this way if Andre Chase realizes he's been taken for a ride by these young guys on the old beaver hunt, you know? Just hunting for beaver.
The musty trail. That old musty trail.
Just, what you're trying to do is you're trying to just like plow some clam here. But what you really should be doing is knuckling down on your studies.
Not moose knuckling down.
No, just knuckling down to get the clam off your mind. Stop thinking about snatch all the time, It's time to study. Maybe it will be revealed that Andre Chase is taking them for a ride, but they've been portrayed, the two young students, as little dickheads not taking it seriously. But the problem now, via this segment, is Andre Chase is too hard on the kids and he needs to learn and evolve and grow.
Yeah, but I think he is going to be like, I've tried your way, now you're trying mine.
Right. It's not working, is it?
I don't know, it is weird, but it got me hooked.
It got him hooked.
I was back at my old university last weekend, and let me tell you, walking past the halls, those walls could talk.
What would they say?
Jacket in my room, all hours of godsends.
God sends hourly gifts.
Go on, Adam. It's time to go to a lecture. Not right now. Kelly Kincaid has a backstage interview with Joe Hendry and Mike Santana. Hendry thanks Mike for helping him out. But Santana reminds him, we're going to be across the ring from each other 2 weeks at Slammiversary. But right now we're on the same page taking
Fight
on.
now, yeah.
Fight right now. We're taking on Trick Williams and the High Rise. It is the High Rise. And they will be facing the High Rise next week as a team.
These match graphics look terrible, don't they?
Can't remember.
They look bad.
The black and white. I quite like the one where they're like really close up to the camera. They're like, come on.
No, there was just like a black background with a bad.
Oh, they're just like,
Photoshop.
we've got this.
Yeah, not good.
Hendry says he knows that he and Santana are different people, but the mission is to bring the TNA title back to TNA Wrestling. Santana says, you're a cornball, but you represent TNA to the max. But I want to make something perfectly clear to you. I'm going to be the one to bring the TNA World title back to where it belongs. Joe says that job is only fit for one man. You're looking at him. At the Great American Bash, there's going to be a contract signing for the triple threat TNA World Championship match at TNA Slammiversary.
I mean, get these Sixer out. I'm sick of it.
Then we got the bit I mentioned with Izzy getting the match against Sol Ruka and Hank and Tank and what have you.
Main event time?
Nearly.
Hey.
Well, the main event match was here. It was Yoshiki Inamura versus Jasper Troy, number one contenders match. I think Hamlet's nailed it, by the way, because before Inamura goes out, Josh Briggs is there like psyching him up. Come on, let's go. And Inamura's like, I've got this. And Briggs is like, oh, yeah, let's go. He's costing him, isn't he?
He's costing him.
And then, he'd be a heel, and then there's another guy who's just a heel in another group, and then, like, Fallon Henley's a heel. I don't know. Just a thought, innit?
Although just a thought is like some like random thought. You've been saying it
4 years?
every week, twice a week for 4 years.
Uh,
Yeah, I've heard this for longer than I was at university, I think.
Troy dominates Inamura early on. There's a big brawl going on, but Inamura powers out of a chinlock. Troy nails Inamura, but it has no effect. He no-sells it, and Inamura gets Troy up for a back suplex and a leaping elbow drop for 2. Then Inamura hits like a sumo pose and charges and runs at Troy, but he hits
Jasper Toy.
He toys with Jasper Troy, but Jasper Troy comes back with a sidewalk slam for 2. But Inamura clotheslines him over the top to take us to a break. When we come back, Troy hits 3 huge splashes for 2 and a world's strongest slam for another near fall. Inamura fights back with elbows, but a boss man slam from Troy as Inamura goes to knock him down. Gets a nice near fall. Troy hits the ropes, hits a splash, but Inamura gets the knees up. He hits some strikes in the corner, and Inamura just really fires up, sends him into the corner. Then the other corner picks him up, body slam, spinning body slam this time, goes up top, hits a huge bomb, and gets the 1, 2, 3 post-match. There's a stare down between Femi and Inamura, and in the ring, Javon Evans, after what happened last week, springboards in to take out Jasper Troy. 2 great matches for Great American Bash. I like this.
Yeah, I really like Oba Femi versus Inamura. I didn't really like this, to be honest. I would describe it as halfway interesting because Inamura's interesting and Jasper Troy isn't. I do half like the experiment, the push, but realistically, this guy's presence is draining every week in accordance with his booking. It's difficult to navigate booking a character like this at the best of times, even like a really good sort of big man. When you're just learning the ropes, it's rough. It's rough and it's tough. But Inamura, every now and then he would do some kind of appeal to the crowd or like some kind of body language defiance. Look, if nothing else, this existed to clarify the title picture at Battleground. Great American Bash. One of them. And make you like Inamura a bit more. And I guess it accolished that.
Yeah, I really like. I don't want him to take the title off Oba Femi, obviously, but I really do like Inamura. And I'm going to be heartbroken when he gets his only friend here in NXT.
Indeed, yeah.
But to close out this show, out comes the new number 1 contender, Jordan Grace. She's got a promo. She says, I wanted to come out and be completely honest.
I hated this, bro.
Last week reminded me I thrive under pressure. The bigger the battle, the bigger the win. He's going to walk into Evolution, she says. Not just for WWE, but for women's wrestling. This time I'm not watching from the sidelines. I'm part of it. I'm going to make history alongside the best women's wrestlers in the world. But I have to be something that I'm terrified of being, and that's vulnerable. I've been asking myself a lot lately. Am I good enough to be here? Do I belong in the WWE? You know my journey. You know I didn't grow up saying I was born to be a WWE superstar, but I did everything I had to in order to get here. I became something they couldn't ignore at Evolution. I'm going to beat JC Jane and remind myself exactly who I am. And out comes Fatal Influence to interrupt them. That is, of course, former North American champion Fallon Henley, Jasmine Nix, and, of course, JC Jane. Who says, all right, Jordan, are you done with this incredible, pitiful, sorry story of yours? Look, congratulations on making the absolute highlight of your entire career. Look, I know you can, everyone is fully aware you can bench press more than me, but you can't carry. In fact, you will never carry this division the way I will. By all means, continue flexing your muscles. And maybe one day that championship will just magically fall into your arms. But I can promise you it won't be my NXT Women's Championship, and it damn sure won't be at Evolution. Everyone keeps saying I'm the most beatable champion in history, but unfortunately for all of you, and for you, and all you idiots, I'm at the top of my game. You can all keep crying about it while I keep winning. And while I'm on the subject, it reminds me, you and Blake Monroe seem to be cut from the same cloth. You think you can just walk up in here and everyone's going to bow down at your feet. But, lucky for you, Fatal Influence will always be here to remind you exactly where you stand. Jordan says, all right, JC, why don't you do everyone a favor here and shut up? You shocked the world when you won the NXT Women's Championship, and I'm not going to surprise anybody when I beat your ass. At Evolution, I am going to become the NXT Women's... Bam! Big brawl, Fatal Influence, and Jordan Grace, but obviously the numbers game, despite Jordan's power, catches up to her. She's getting beaten down 3-on-1 when Blake Monroe makes the save. She runs down, hits a sling blade. Grace hits JC with a spine buster. Ava appears on the stage and tells JC Jane, calm down and listen to what I've got to say.
Calm down and listen to what I have to say.
And she announces the Great American Bash.
The Great American Bash.
It will be Fatal Influence.
It'll be Fatal Influence.
Against Jordan Grace.
Against Jordan Grace.
And Blake Monroe.
And Blake Monroe.
And post-announcement, they try and get back into it with Jordan Grace and Blake Monroe, who just drop them yet again and stand tall as this show goes off the air.
Oh, God. You know what the worst part of this revolting, arse-licking WWE was?
Go on. You got that?
Mm-hmm. Was, why do they all have to be marks for this great land of WWE? Like, I understand that it behooves them to position itself as this brand first, because I understand how it works. If there's no one top star and the brand is the star, then whoever comes in is automatically a bigger star, and he used to fall for it all the time. But whatever. That's a different story for a different day, different needs. Is Jordan Grace rocked up at the Royal Rumble last year?
Yeah.
Better than all of them. On an unbelievably noticeable scale. That was quite embarrassing for WWE and by extension its performance center. They are so desperate to have her that you could argue they opened up the door to a working relationship with TNA just so they can have her early.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I'm September 22nd, right? My sister was born September 19. I was such a little bastard nightmare that I got jealous. I think it's only because it was so close to mine that I used to get a present on my sister's birthday. That's how pathetic I am, right? They were like me. The Fed was like me when I was like 8. I want a present as well. So you get one in 3 days, you little bastard. That's what my parents said. I was like, I want one now. It's, oh, God, you're ruining your sister's birthday. Just give him a CD or something. Jesus Christ. You know what I mean?
Yeah. They
were desperate. This whole thing really was, promote your shows or whatever. Just gives Jordan. Because Jordan preceded Joe Hendry.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it all just sort of snowballed from there.
Mm-hmm.
And then Jordan comes in, wins loads of matches, kicks all kinds of ass, gets PLE title matches when she's under contract with TNA, comes in. When did she make a full debut? A matter of months ago.
Yeah.
And now is in a big match at Evolution. And it doesn't help that she's robotic. Like, even if she's so bad, really, at cutting promos, Jordan Grace. Like, even when she's sincere, I still think of her as a robot recycling material. Am I good enough for this place? I don't know. I gotta be vulnerable. Why does the ass kicker, who's better than anyone in your company, have to be vulnerable and self-conscious and plagued with self-doubt when your own booking completely contradicts what you're saying? But you have to make a remark. You have to make them all marks. She said, am I good enough for WWE? The great WWE. Blake Monroe. Oh my God, it was my dream to come to WWE. It's not my dream. God damn. I hate this company. It's a cult. It's no wonder they're all thinking they're freaking their family. Oh my God, I've come home to Daddy. Oh, well, Daddy's got a budget, so hit the bricks. I hate this company, and I hate this brand, but I really enjoyed that tag match. I was rather taken with it.
I'm excited for Jordan Grace and Blake Monroe as a tag team. That'll be fun.
Aye.
Kick the Raiders. So they're the same weekend, isn't it? Yeah. So if Jordan Grace pins JC Jane in that match, the next night, if that happens a second time, a title will change hands.
So proud of himself.
Anyway, let us know your thoughts on NXT in the comment section below or on X at WhatCulture WWE. Watch they can follow all three of us. You can follow Michael Sidgwick at
M. Sidgwick.
Follow brilliant producer Adam Nicholas at
It's Adam Nicholas.
And you can follow me at Adam Wilbourn. Follow us all at WhatCulture WWE. As I said, make sure you subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling wherever you get your podcasts from for daily wrestling podcasts. The Dynamite preview is available right now, but for now, this has been the NXT review. My thanks to Sidgwick, to Stacks. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you soon.